Hey there, lady. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's guest is someone who came to me at a time when her life was anything but steady. In her own words, she described it as walking on a waterbed, everything shifting beneath her feet, nothing solid to stand on. That guest is Becca Creed Nimrod, a Midwest native turned
Mhm.
East Coast adventurer with a truly global heart. Becca has a rare gift for cultivating belonging, whether she's gathering friends around a table, hosting in a studio, or spreading a picnic blanket in the sunshine. Equally at home, dancing in the middle of a crowded floor, or wandering a quiet trail, she embraces life with playfulness and wonder. She came to me first as a coaching client and then moved into my embodiment mentorship program. And along the way, she received a relationship reading. What I have watched Becca do, the way she has moved through change with grace, with compassion, and with a genuine desire to build something new, has been one of the most beautiful things that I've witnessed
Mm.
in this work. After dedicating her first career to raising two remarkable sons, she has stepped fully into sharing her gifts through her coaching and movement practice, Awake. Her work draws on a foundation as a 500-hour registered yoga teacher, integrative nutrition health coach, and a practitioner trained in sound healing, Reiki, and human design. She's a manifesting generator with a 4-1 profile and the Juxtaposition Cross of Serendipity. Woven into that cross are two gates that will tell you everything you need to know about who Becca is: joy and innocence, not in spite of everything she has walked through, but because of it. Today, we are talking about what it really means to lose your foundation and choose to build a better one, about trust, serendipity, and what happens when a 4-1 stops fighting the change and starts flowing with it. And what it looks like to arrive on the other side, not hardened, not closed, but open, rooted, and more yourself than ever. Welcome to the show, Becca. I'm so glad you are here.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for having me. What an honor. What an honor and a
Oh,
privilege to be here with you. Thank you.
I am so loving this space that we get to be in, not only here right now on the podcast, but every time we meet, it's just always such a joy. So thank you for saying yes to being here.
Of course. Yes, and. Yes, and. That's kind of one of my mottos. Yes, and
Yeah,
please.
I hear that a lot of times in our calls. Before we get into your human design, I want to start with your own words.
Oh
During,
my.
I think it was one of your first coaching calls or coaching sessions, you described that season of life that you were in as walking on a waterbed. Can you take us
Mhm.
back there? What was actually happening and what did that feeling really mean to you?
Um, I am, I guess, I born in the 70s, but a child of the 80s. And I remember waterbeds, and my sister and brother both had waterbeds, and we would try to stand on it, and you would stand on it, but you didn't really have that steady footing. And if it was really full, then, if it was really full, then you could have a little bit more steadiness. Or if it was almost empty, then you could like sink down on one side and then have to fill it up. And during this period of my life, everything shifted. Everything that I had known, the relationship that I had been in for years was shifting and changing and had come to a place of being complete, which left me in a place of being single. And having been a stay-at-home mom for 25 years, and the decision that my ex-husband and I made for one person to be home shifted and changed. And here I was single, almost 50, living alone. And the last time I lived alone was, when I was maybe 22, I
Yeah.
think. So like it had been a long time. And all I could think about is, quicksand, you're sucked into it, but a waterbed, you can find that balance, but it's not easy. And that was when we were talking, that's the only way that I could really describe it, was trying to stand on a waterbed.
Yeah. And as we get into your profile type, that really makes sense for how
Mm.
much foundation and steadiness and stability really matter. Um, and if you are someone that's just joining, if you haven't listened to the profile types episode, you really need to go back there so you can hear about the basics about a 4-1
Mhm.
profile. What's wonderful is that Becca was telling me, which was, I really loved it. Like you came out and you already told me, do you know that as a 4-1 profile, I'm really rare? And I was like, Yeah, but I forgot the percentage. And then you told me, and I was like, oh my
It's
gosh,
like
I'm gonna have
one
to
or
look this up.
2%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
1 or
it's
2%, I
2% of the
think. Okay.
two. And so what's fun in human design, the 4-1 is called the bonus life, which means that they are on a fixed path. And we'll talk about that more in a bit. But just in case if you didn't listen to that episode, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background so you can really get a feel of what we're going to take through as a journey today with Becca. The 4th line is about relationships and their network. They are highly social and extremely friendly, especially with their people.
Uh-huh.
But with the line 1, they need solitude and so that they have that solitude, they can deep dive into their interests. So they do a lot of research because they have a deep well and thirst for knowledge. So when you put the two together, they gather and learn information specifically about relationships and their passions. And both lines need to know what's coming next. So if change is happening, line 1 wants to research about the change, know how to handle it and the best way forward, and so on and so on. Line 4 wants to know the next step in the relationship. So this could be the next person you're dating. It can also be about the next job, or even the next place to call home. But because of this fixed fate, knowing where they're going is extremely important to them. This is why the visual that she gave about walking on a waterbed is so perfect, because the 4-1 is built for foundation. It is built for security, for knowing the kind of roots that allow them to reach into the world and truly invite them to be what I like to think of as the big oak tree. So when that ground disappears, such as like when so when life asks you to move as a 4-1 or to release or even to start over, it's not like just uncomfortable for the rest of us. It can feel as if for a 4-1 that their whole life is turning upside down or unraveling. So learning how to stand as themselves, as the big oak tree, is extremely important. That because when they do, they are harnessing their knowledge and their relationships in order to build deeper and stronger roots within themselves and then within their community, one person at a time. So Becca, I know we were kind of smiling and laughing as we kept going through that, but like hearing all of that, the big oak tree, the fixed path, and needing to know what's coming next, how much did you recognize that in yourself before we started working together? And how much of it only made sense once everything really started to shift these last few months?
I think, your two of the things you said, one was relationships and you wanting to know the next relationship, and in a career, wanting to know the next career. For me, both of those things were gone. Like the relationship that I had known for so long was gone. The job that I had known for so long was gone. And in having been a student of human design, I knew that there was something that was shaken, but I didn't know until you and I really started working together, like the depth of it. You helped me open my eyes and understand to the depth that really mattered. And then it all started making sense. Like why I unpack my suitcase when I get into a hotel for one night started making a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because of needing that stability and like wanting that to feel like home right away.
Absolutely.
And with the 4th line, all being about network and specifically the right people opening the right doors for you. Looking back, can you point to a person or a relationship that became a doorway during this time of change?
I can point to a few of them. There's one that is particularly special, and anything that I share about my partner Andy, I have permission to share. I have asked if I have permission, just to we really hold our relationship very sacred and pretty personal. So anything that I share, I have permission to share. But Andy, who is my now partner, and I have been friends for many, many, many years, and was one of two people that the day that that my ex-husband told me that he wanted to move forward with a divorce. Andy's one of two people that I text because we've been friends for a long time. And he said, I got you. Like, I'm here for you. I won't leave you in the ditch. I got you. And so he really helped weave me through, as my friend, only my friend, through some days that proved to be really foundational in my moving forward. And one of the things, the question that he asked me was, he said, Becca, you have to decide, who are you going to be through all of this? Who are you going to be through all of this? And at the time, it didn't really register how important that decision was. But that, coupled with working with you, Molly, allowed me to see who I have been created and designed to be. And that question, with our work together, allowed me to show up in a way that I don't regret. Like, there's no regret. There's honor and gratitude for the 20 some years that I spent with my ex-husband. He's a good man. And our relationship was exactly maybe not exactly, but it was what it was supposed to be. You know, I mean, no relationship, I think, is exactly what it's supposed to be, but it ended up being what it was supposed to be. And out of that gave us our two boys, which is the reason I know that I say the divine brought us together. Our kids, I believe your kids choose you. And so our boys chose us to be their parents. And with that divine spark, it was good. It was good. Yeah. And so that relationship with Andy really helped guide me through that, and then ended up being something different than could have ever predicted.
and better for you as well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Really special. And then I have another friend, another good friend of mine, and I didn't ask permission to use her name, so I won't use her name, but she'll listen to this and she'll know who it is. She would make sure that I had eaten, make sure that I had water to drink, would bring food over to my house, would come and just spend time with me over and over and over to make sure that things were okay, invite me over for dinner. And just in that, showing up with consistency was another person that really was foundational during that time.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've talked about it on the podcast before I even started talking about human design, about divorce and how difficult that can be, and that identity shift. But for a 4/1, and I know I wasn't going to ask this, but this is just kind of like, so that people understand, it's very devastating for a 4/1. Your whole life is with relationships, and it can really, for any 4-line actually, but for a 4/1 especially, it can be very devastating, because you feel, as a part of you that you've invested and you've created a foundation with, it's as if, like you said, you do know now that those 20 some years mattered, and you know where you can find that. You can reframe, you can see, you can live those moments, and you know it's your sons, and you know the lessons that came from it. Some people don't get there. They stay stuck and in this empty hole of, who am I now? And so it's wonderful to have seen the end of that for you, because that's when we started, was like, you were still going strong. Like, you were like, I'm moving on, I'm doing my thing. And it's been beautiful to watch what almost seems like watching the waterbed flow. Not like the ups and downs of valleys, but just like you stepping and feeling like you got balance. And then a few other times where you're like, not there. But then really like getting your feet wet almost, like you're standing. So yeah, when we think about that and moving into the line 1 of the investigator, the researcher, the part that has to know before it can feel safe, when everything was shifting underneath you, how did you manage that drive to research, understand, and make sense of what was happening? And did it help, or did it sometimes keep you stuck?
Well, at first I just froze. I froze.
Mm.
I really, Molly, I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to move. And so I came inside, and I've never lied about an I love you or an I miss you. I have lied over and over and over about, are you okay? And
Mm.
people would say, are you okay? And I'd say, yeah, sure, I'm okay, which I wasn't. So, um, and people who know me know that I've never lied about an I'm okay. And so then they like press into there. But I froze at first. And the the deep dive research in that part of that investigative line one was here. I had to do
Mm-hmm.
it here. I couldn't I couldn't do it outside of me. And for one of the first times, I mean, having been in coaching, I've guided people do these, like, and had the opportunity to walk alongside people doing amazing things, from like sobriety to publishing their first book, all these things. But I was like, but where am I? And so I did this deep dive into myself, and was at that kind of at that process where I met you. And then again, coupled with the work with you, like it helped me get to that place where I was investigating who I was, and I had to do that investigation here before I could do it, could move forward and investigate, like, okay, what's next for career? What's next for relationship? What's next here, here, here? I had to be whole within myself before I could move beyond.
Oh, I love that. I honestly have like goosebumps on my legs right now, the way you explained that. Because, if we look at human design, just a lot of line ones get a bad rap of like always looking externally and researching. And the way you brought that in and saying, no, I want to look at my relationship to self, which does make sense with having the four. But it's another layer that anyone with a one line can really example. Like, do you need external information, or do you need to go internal and figure it out for you and research and reflect for yourself? So I greatly appreciate you sharing that perspective, as well as feeling how much that really helped you get where you need to go.
I read this quote this morning and I wrote it down. It's, love was learning to receive because giving had always been easier. Love
Ooh.
was learning to receive because giving has always been easier. And I wrote it down. I didn't know why I wrote it down, but I knew that it would surface at some point in time today. Um, and just coming from what you just said about for line ones, I think for a lot of people, it's so much easier to give than to receive. And love, grace, any gratitude, forgiveness, all of those things I think fall in line with that. It's often so much easier to give than it is to receive. And if there's anything that this season has taught me, it's that you have to receive. And I had to receive from me first. And then when I
Yes.
could receive from me first, then I could start to receive from others. And then that worked into a place of wholeness, which led to
Ooh.
really opening like the floodgates quick to where I am now.
Wow. That is wonderful explanation, and love how you pulled in that quote. We actually know where that comes from in your chart. Your
Okay.
divine we
Oh,
the 4323.
yeah. Yes, where that came from. Yeah, that I got it.
See?
I don't know why I've got it, but I got it and I know it. Yes.
I will be
Yes.
sharing her chart later, but and to show you where this comes from. But
Uh,
Becca is divinely connected. It's yeah. When you said about the whole part, it did kind of like give me a vision of
mm,
the acorn and your
mm.
bracelet that you recently showed me on Voxer. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, I've got
And
it
I'm
right
like, the
here.
big oak tree. Like, that's
Hmm.
so fitting.
Hmm.
Ah.
Yeah. And I just found it. Like you asked me to do this podcast and then I was digging through, like I've recently relocated and I have shit everywhere, stuff everywhere. I don't know if I can say
You can,
that. Okay.
you're
Okay.
good at
Stuff.
cussing.
I've got it everywhere. And I was looking for something else and I found this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. I need to have this bracelet back on. So it's back on.
That is so cool.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Yes. Um, I love
Uh,
this too with us laughing back and forth because we just know how like a moment and serendipitous, like, because we're going to talk about that, how things just
uh,
happen for you, even the littlest
mm,
things to the biggest things. But before we get there for a 4-1, we're going to go back to the change part. So change, like we said, is not just inconvenient. It can feel like a threat for survival. Um, what was the moment you realized you were actually going to be okay, even while everything was still moving?
gosh. Well, there's a couple of moments. One was a little bit later, and that was after this big meditation that I had done. And that's, I think I'll come to that later. Like you shared, I trained in 500 hours, like my registered yoga teacher training. I did that in India. I
Mm.
was in Rishikesh, and when I was there, I got really sick one day. I'd had like the best day ever. And then the next day I was really sick, like a fever, and it was weird, and I hadn't eaten anything. And I was like, oh great, here I'm in Rishikesh, India. It's hot, and I don't know, like, but I'm sick. I can't, this training is so intense. I need to be there. I can't get out of bed. And so later that day, when I was finally able to get up of bed and I talked to one of my teachers, they said, Becca, like sometimes your body has to burn things off physically in order to move through. So in January of 25, I got really sick with pneumonia, like really sick. I was by myself in my house, and friend that I talked about earlier, like came by every day to make sure I was okay. And one night I mean, my fever was like, I don't know, 101, 102, 103. It got
Mm.
up really high one day. And she and my mom both don't know each other, but both said, if you wake up in the middle of the night and your fever hasn't gone down, please call an ambulance. You need to go to the ER. And turns out I had pneumonia. But that night I made it through. The next day I was like, my body is burning off the last of what it needs to burn off, but it had to do it physically. So there is that piece. And then there is another moment in it was in the fall, and I was at a football game. So both of my boys have been blessed to play this crazy game called football. And it was when my younger son was playing for Tennessee, and his dad and I were standing, and they had come back to play Arkansas, and I was living in Arkansas at the time. And so we're standing in the Arkansas Stadium, the Razorback Stadium, and I was standing next to him, and we had been separated for quite a while and living separately. And but we did all the football games together, and so we were standing there, and I looked up at him. He's real tall. I'm 5'10", and he's like 6'5", and so I looked up at
Wow.
him, and I said, no matter what happens, what we have done together is so good. Look what we have done. And he looked down at me and he put his arm around me and he kind of gave me a little squeeze and he said, you're right. And
Mm.
so those two moments, and then there was a bigger one a little bit later that we'll get to with this meditation, I think. But those two moments really, it was like closure with him that what we had was good.
Yeah.
And that burning off physically what my body needed to get rid of to move through and be whole.
Yeah. Wow. Two powerful stories at two
Mhm.
different times,
Mhm.
as well as different areas of your life. And it's so, it's wonderful to be able to pinpoint those memories for all of us and see how those moments of change really help not just like weave through our lives and moments, but can be steps. So
Mhm.
we have grounding again.
Mhm.
And, one of the things that I mentioned in the beginning, and I just started describing your, human design, is that you're a manifesting generator. And manifesting generators are wired to move really fast and follow what makes you excited,
Mhm.
makes you joyful, lights you up. What happens to that energy when the ground beneath you hasn't been stable?
Ooh. I froze. I didn't know what to do. Like I froze
Yeah.
because my life has always just, moved quickly, and, that whole serendipitous deal, like that's just this yes and like, okay, I'm like wide-eyed wonder, like, okay. Um, but yeah, it's scary. It's
Mm.
scary, and I think scary really is I didn't know what to do. I froze and I was scared, and I tried to ignore things. I tried to
Yeah.
ignore until I finally couldn't ignore it anymore, and I had to tap in internally
Okay.
to move
Yeah.
through, because you can't move around and over and under. Like I had tried that for years, but some things you have to, well, not, I would say 99% of things you got to just go through.
Right. Very
There's not
much.
a way around it.
Well, especially for you as we get into like the fixed path, like sometimes you have to bulldoze through and be on the path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
And one thing though that like working with you that I really have enjoyed watching is how you work with your sacral.
Mm.
And for those that don't know, because I have yet to share her chart, but now I'm like, I'm not there yet, but my computer's being fun. It's fixed itself. Thank you, Mercury retrograde. But you are really good at working with your strategy and authority of sacral response. Like you are really good at responding. You're really good at feeling it. You're hypothetically designed to wait for life to bring things to you to respond to. But during this season of change, what you're talking about, was there a moment you stopped and just responded to what was in front of you, and what did that feel like for you? Because part of being a manifesting generator is like obviously half manifestor, half generator, and sometimes this is where
Mhm.
generators do get caught up with initiating it, or like informing and initiating, informing and initiating. They're too much in the manifestor energy, but I've seen you really in the generator energy of sacral. And so like, is there times where, because as a manifesting generator, like you're moving so fast, like you have to stop initiating, stop going with that forward moment, and you just have to sit and be like, all right, I have to wait. I have to wait to respond.
Yeah. Um, I think I wasn't so good at it. I would try to, is it cheating if I say that I have an open head?
No,
So
because
it's,
they'll see that.
okay. It's really easy for me to get in my head. And where's this pillow? I have this funny pillow, that
Oh
if
yeah.
you're watching it, you can see. It says, "Hold on, let me
Oh my gosh,
overthink
I
this."
love that.
So,
I love that
um,
company.
me too. I have several of them, but that one, hold on, let me overthink this. I really tend to get in my head. And one of the things that you've helped me do is to get back into my heart, and
Mm.
get back into my heart, get back into my body, which we'll talk about how important my body is later on, I'm sure. But finding my way back to my heart, I had to, I think divorce didn't happen in my family. I grew up in a pretty conservative Christian home, and like you just don't get divorced. You don't. And and the moment that I accepted and said, "Okay, you know what? This part of my life is complete, and it's not going to turn out the way that on my wedding day that I said, till death do us part and all those things. That's not the way that it's going to happen. I will be divorced." Um, I gave it all that I could. He gave it all that he could. We did everything that we could to say, is this the way we're supposed to be? But the moment that I accepted that that wasn't going to be the way that it was going to be, I think my shoulders went from here to here. And not that they didn't go back up and back up and back up all the way to my ears again. But it gave me the freedom to move forward.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it gave me freedom to move on, I think. Not I think I
Some,
know.
yeah, how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what's lovely is that you getting back into your body and feeling that it's complete versus initiating of overthinking or
Mm-hmm.
looking for the right answer. Um, yeah, that feels good with you saying it like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. So what Becca was just talking about with her open head is right here. And she also has an open solar plexus and an open heart center. And when we first started working together, like I know this isn't part of the questions, but just so people understand, most of the time they aren't always open. They're undefined is more common. Um, but knowing that you know your chart and you want to be more in your heart center and you also want to be in that identity center, knowing who you are and where you come from of like your foundation, this is really strong as well. And your sacral. You're really good at all of these. All of your defined centers, like you really do touch on them. When you're certain about something, you are certain.
Mm-hmm.
You have a really amazing way of expressing yourself in the now, getting the downloads. That's that 43 to 23 channel that we were kind of hinting at earlier. If it wasn't for Becca, I probably wouldn't be doing relationship readings because ironically enough, I was thinking about doing, this is just a side note, but like I was thinking about doing those. And then randomly you were just like, this came to me. And then I just decided I should share it right now on a coaching call. And I was like, oh, that's so funny.
I had been thinking about it for weeks, Molly, and I'm like, do I say it? Do I not say it? Do I say it? Do I
Oh
not
my
say it?
gosh.
And I know
I'm
where
so
I
glad
was
you did.
on a trail. I was walking in Arkansas with my dog, and I know where I was on the trail. And I was like, I got to tell her. I got it. And so I did.
Perfect, because they've been so much fun. They're like one of my favorite things. Actually, all your services should be favorite things, right? But what we're going to get into right now is that we're going to talk about Becca's incarnation cross.
Mm.
And I haven't talked much about incarnation crosses on the podcast, and that's because there's so many of them. There's 192 basic incarnation crosses. And I'd rather not devote another podcast for every single one of those. I mean, you could go on for days. I just don't have the energy for that. But let's get up close and personal here. So the incarnation cross, from my experience and from what I have seen in clients, is someone else's, it's their life theme that needs to be lived out. It may not be your complete purpose. It might not be your personal destiny, as others may say, but it's like a guiding force that helps you stay in alignment at a like larger macro level. You can find your incarnation cross with your human design chart and in your report. I'll show you Becca's here if you're watching on YouTube. It's a combination of 4 gates. As you look at your chart, you're going to notice a column on the right side. It's called your personality or your conscious gates. And then on the left, you're going to see here, this is your design side or your unconscious gates. So the combination for everyone is their personality sun, their personality earth, their design, I almost said personality again, their design sun, their design earth, and it goes in that order. So Becca's combination is 46, 25, 52, and 51. And this is called the juxtaposition of serendipity. And before I get into her cross, I will briefly share these gates and their names because I feel that these are important to highlight as part of who she is. So gate 46 is in her identity center right here. It is called the gate of determination, of self. It's also called pushing upwards, but I love to call it the love of the body. Then gate 25 is also in the identity center, and it's reaching towards the heart center. This is called the gate of spirit of self, or innocence. I like to say innocence. Then gate 52, it is down here in the root. And this is called the gate of inaction, also known as keeping still or the mountain. Gate 58, this is also in the root center. It's down right here. It is called the gate of aliveness or the joyous. I also love calling this one the joyous. So juxtaposition incarnation crosses are very rare. I don't know if you know about this either, Becca, but like there's only 64 of them, of juxtapositions, and each of them occur during a span of 3 hours once a year. So you were born in a crazy little 3-hour like blip that gets this. And what's so unique is that their life path is considered very fixed instead of those with a right or left angle cross. Like there's ways to get off your path and that can mess everything up. Or it can put you in deeper alignment. It just depends. Sometimes for someone with a fixed incarnation cross, they will try to deviate from their path and their life will have a way of like guiding them or forcing them back on track. So staying true to that for them will bring them closer to the life that they want to flow with and live in. Now, Becca has the juxtaposition of serendipity, and it's about being in the right place at the right time. She is a person who's not only focused on that path, but knows that the correct commitment to experience, as well as that doing the real work, leads to good fortune and success. In order to do so, she must fully enjoy being alive. Her attitude can change like her whole journey. And she will also, when she does that, show you that you can do that as well. So paying attention and giving gratitude changes everything for her and for those around her. As she puts her physical needs above all else, she will continue to grow and attract the people and places she's meant for along the way. When we include your incarnation cross into the discussion of your 4-1 profile and your energy type, we definitely see the shift towards trust and presence. Leaning into how your profile needs that safety and security through knowledge and the network, was there a point as you moved through change where you had to consciously put down the need to figure it all out and just let something find you?
I go back to that January pneumonia. Like I've never been so sick in my life. And I really, and it was really a season, I guess it was a little bit before that, when I remember walking into the place where I worked. I taught yoga for years. And I walked in one morning and a sweet gal, the barista, just looked at me and I ordered. So I just couldn't eat. And, but I wanted these crispy potatoes. I'm like, okay, it's some fried potatoes. I've lost a bunch of weight. And these crispy potatoes will be good fatty calories and carbs. And so I ordered them and they didn't have them. And then I ordered something else and they didn't have it. And I just I nearly melted into a puddle on the floor. And she's like, hey, listen, I'm going to feed you. Just sit down and let me bring you something. And so she fed me. And it was a bunch of berries. It was avocado with it had really big grainy salt on it. Like I still see it. And there was a moment of that was surrender to letting someone take care of me. And then, and knowing that I was going to be okay. And then after having made it through that pneumonia piece and being like, okay, I've survived this. I just have to let be what will be. And on a really, on a smaller, on a day-to-day level, my partner, Andy, he just lives in this space of what will be, will be. And so if I move and get in my head and I'm like, well, what about this? And what about this? What about this? He's like, listen, it's all going to be okay. It's going to be fine. So he is a daily reminder of just everything's going to be fine. It's all going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And, which keeps me from digging into spaces that I don't really need to dig into.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
Oh, yes, it does.
Okay.
Andy's 3-5 profile really makes sense and helps you balance. He's like, I've experimented with this before. It'll be okay.
Yes. True story.
And how you're designed to respond and with serendipity is essentially life giving you something to respond to, both of them. Mm-hmm. Can you describe what it feels like in your body when a serendipitous moment landed in these last several months? And did you recognize it right away, or did you have to wait and only see it now as you reflect back?
I'm much better at recognizing it at the moment. And it feels, it's like I love sprinkles, like actual, sprinkles that you sprinkle. It feels like body sprinkles. There's
Oh.
it's like this, or like a sparkler, or like it's joy filled and it's bright and it's but not explosive. It's like a peaceful, like I don't know how could, like, peaceful sprinkle or peaceful sparkler or something, like, internally. Um,
Yeah, that
and
is
joy,
so funny that you
like
say
joy.
it that way because that's just part of how you're designed,
Hmm.
literally. And that's part of your incarnation cross. So I love how you say it. Just when you said sprinkles, I literally was like, "Ooh, sprinkle donut."
Yeah. We had somebody here this weekend, and I had this big bag of sprinkles. I pulled them out of the cabinet because I was looking for something. I'm like, have you ever seen so many sprinkles in your life? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, sometimes I just will take a shot of sprinkles, like just sprinkles in my hand. And they're like, they were like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna send you home with some sprinkles. And so I have these. There's this company that they're called shots of joy, or sprinkle shots of joy, and they literally are like a little test tube of sprinkles. And so I sent them home with one, because I knew that they
That's
would,
awesome.
and hopefully they eat them at some point in time.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I used to do that as a kid, is eat the sprinkles because they were
Yeah,
so fun.
so great.
Well, and just the joy from the voice right now, like we're obviously moving in the right path with this discussion because now that's the next thing I want to talk about is,
Mm,
out of the four gates, two of them can help bring you stability and keep you grounded because they're your earth gates. And I mentioned them already, but like that's gate 58, the joyous, and gate 25, the innocence. But for a lot of people going through these like upheavals, divorce, little shift in career, changing your environment, moving, um, they can sometimes bring up not only, screw with the waterbed moments of being
mm,
back to being unstable, but some things when they're difficult, especially, divorce, it can harden them a bit,
mm,
but you carry, joy and innocence with you as part of your design. But with joy, it's genuinely something that I see more out of you than other people in my life that even have
mm.
this gate. Um, do you think that this gate protected you in some way or does protect you? And did you have to fight to keep it alive during some of these changes and shifts that you've experienced?
Of course, I had to fight to keep it alive. My mom's always said I'm like Pollyanna, and I see the silver lining, and can I don't know if that's because I'm like Libra rising, like both. I'm
Mm.
like Libra sun, Libra rising, Taurus moon. So like I've got like this balance, these scales that I'm always trying to find the balance of the situation. But I would say 9 times out of 10, it leans towards the positive, and how can everybody benefit from whatever's going on. And there's also this, the divine always shows up. Like, I just know that at my core. And probably that is in those two gates. Like,
Mm.
even when I go to a place where I don't think I'm in my head and I don't think it's going to work out, I come back to this place of things are going to work out because they just always do that Pollyanna piece. There are times for sure that it didn't show up. Like, I was hollow. I was
Yeah.
hollow. I walked through, um I couldn't make a decision. I remember being in the grocery store one time, and I literally walked around, I walked around the neighborhood market, like, probably for 20 or 25 minutes, like, just like I couldn't make a decision. Like, I could not make a decision of what I wanted. And I walked out of the grocery store with um greens, pimento cheese, which is like my favorite, next to French fries. Um, and Haribo gummy bears. What was the
Yum.
other thing? There was one other thing. Oh, heavy cream, because I like heavy whipping cream in my coffee. So those were the 4 things that I left the grocery store with. But I had put things in my basket and taken them out, and in my basket and taken it out, because I was just empty and hollow and I couldn't make a decision. So, and there was no joy in that moment. None. None.
And look what you bought. You bought things that usually bring you joy.
I did. That's true. I didn't think about that till just now. I did. Yeah, till just now. I did. I bought things that bring me joy, for sure.
Well, and
Oh,
like those are the little things that do, if when you can't find joy and things feel off, is finding the
mhm,
things that do and bringing them back in.
mhm,
And you're
mhm,
so good at doing that. Like we'll just say like the sprinkles is a really good example. The acorn bracelet, um, understanding yourself, knowing that you need to go out for walks, connecting back with nature, going inward, like all the things that bring you joy are things that I see from our discussions, our sessions of like that you do on the daily that some people just don't understand or grasp that they don't have to be a crazy celebration to bring you joy. The daily practice of making joy and being aware of it and expressing gratitude for it is how you cultivate joy.
mhm.
And you are a living and walking example of joy.
I think, Molly, as you say that, like it just is bringing to mind, like it is so, it's so a part of who I am. And I believe like, and this is me a little riff, I tangent, a little
Go
riff
for
on
it.
it is that my parents had to have fostered that in me as a child.
Mm.
They had to have fostered that in me as a child. And my mom recently, well, maybe it was about a year ago, said to Andy, she said, "Thank you for bringing the joy of my daughter back. I have not seen the joy of her childhood in over 25 years. Thank you for being a person that has made it safe for her
Mm.
to cultivate that." And that do not, it has nothing to do with what I was living in. There's nothing negative about that. I don't want me making that statement to say that there, like those 25 years, there was no joy in that, because there was so much joy and but I think that the childhood joy that you've been able to witness, there's a difference between that
Right.
and what I'm able to live and experience now is that joy that I had when I was really young, not 50.
Yeah.
That like it was when I was young and now it's back as a 50-year-old.
Yeah. There's like things that you've moved through. And from what I have seen, like with you and Andy's chart, like you guys really bring a lot of stability for each other. And that stability is really important for you as the
Mm-hmm.
4-1 profile. And the more you feel comfortable not only having stability, but also being you and being in your body with gate 46, because that is 70% of who you are. And also, Earth, the personality Earth is it's in alignment with that too. So it's also part of that 70%. That really gets to highlight these unconscious gates of joy,
Mm,
of being still in the mountain and cultivating that line one sense of yourself. But the more that you've been able to find stability, the more that you've been able to explore and be your adventurous self and be with someone that's like, yeah, go do that. That sounds great. You can do whatever you want. You doing you brings me joy as well. That has
mm-hmm.
been huge for your expansion.
Mm-hmm. And it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so fun to feel so safe,
Mm. Oh
because
gosh, is it?
in that safety has allowed me to, yeah, in that safety has really allowed me to find an elevated level of joy.
Yeah. And like that's fun because we can tie this back into the other gate too, the gate 25. I'm going to move it over here. 25 of innocence. And, like I said, this can be also called the spirit of self, which this kind
Yeah.
of also taps into the divine that you've talked about. It's this quality of approaching life without armor, without
Mm,
cynicism, without judgment, even though judgment lives here in gate 18. This 25 is stronger in a sense. And with an open heart right here, after being knocked around in love and in life, it takes real courage to do what you've done. And so how have you held on to that innocence through these seasons of change?
The innocence is who I am. I know that. It at times can kind of hurt me because I'm, benefit of the doubt, like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that's great. Let's just go follow. I believe it to be right. I have recently relocated to Washington, D.C., where it is like you don't put yourself out there. Like, you just don't. Like, you have a guard, you have an armor. And when we made the decision for me to relocate here, one of the things that was said to me is, Becca, you have to be careful because this city will eat you alive. And what I have learned is I've gone to, like, I don't do politics very well. And so I go to these networking events or these happy hours or confirmation something on the Senate where I'm in the audience. Like, I don't even know what to call it. And they're like, oh, so what part of foreign affairs are you in? And I'm like, well, I'm not. And I'm in health and wellness, and what I get to do is, all of you type A's that are up here, you need this. You need me to help bring you from up here to down to here. And so I've embraced that I've embraced it innocently, I would say, that I'm not going to come here and talk politics with you because you will eat me alive. But what I can say is, this is who I am. Take me or leave me.
Right.
And some people love it and they're like, oh my gosh, absolutely. And some people are like, oh, okay, let me move on to the next person. Let me go find who I need to help me with, la, 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 la. So there's, and again, I come back to this place of safety, Molly. Like, if I would enter into those places and I didn't feel safe to say, hey, this is who I am, take me or leave me, then I couldn't enter into those places. I would be eaten alive.
Right.
And that innocence wouldn't have strength. But I'm in a place where there's a strength coupled with the innocence, and a confidence coupled with that innocence, that allows me to stay grounded and steady in that.
How does that feel saying it?
I've never said it before, and it feels amazing. Like, my whole body's lit up. Like, hey, wow, this is why you're doing this podcast. This is what you needed to hear. This is what needed to come out in the moment, was exactly what I just said. That's that
right
serendipity.
Place, right time.
Moment. Right place, right time, serendipitous. Like, that is what it is that I needed to know that my innocence is paired with confidence. Thank you. This is what she does. You are witnessing it, like, boom, in the moment. This is what she does. Thank you, Molly.
It's not all me. You got to work that out yourself, though. It's wonderful to see, especially because of what we're working on in the mentorship right now. And I can't wait for you and I to discuss that another time. But, like, this is part of it. Just what we talked about right now is definitely part of what we're working on. Being able to hold yourself as who you are, full of joy, innocence, loving your body, but also knowing when to keep it still and waiting for the right experience and the right moment with your sacral response saying, this is it. That is you. That is full 100% you. Because, like, there is such a difference in protecting your innocence. And I know I put this in here in the notes, like, but surrendering to it. And that's what you just did, that whole example. And I know that some people, like, when we talk about human design, they're like, oh, this is going to fix all my problems. It's going to be A, B, C, D, D, and I'll be able to do this and that. It's so structured, or it's hypothetically people are like, oh, it's so woo, it's so naive and blah, blah, blah. But when we look at your design, like this is the stuff we can see and work through. And like for you being able to surrender to the innocence and actually say, this is me and I love it about me. How has that shown up for you in the way, like in other parts of your life? And where was there a, you know, obviously right now you just talked about how you're trying not to control it, but is there anything else that maybe there's a time where you try to control your innocence and something was like, no, we're going to bust through and I'm going to show you how to just to be you?
No,
I have an
I
idea.
don't know. Okay. I was like, can I push pause? Can I push pass on that one? Let's go
We
with
can
your
either push.
idea. Let's go.
Well,
What's your idea?
I honestly think that Andy helped you push through and be more innocent and bring more joy.
100%. 100%. Yes.
He like that to me, when I think about when I look at your 4 gates, just those, I feel that the keeping still is kind of how Andy grounds you. So the 52 really gets to be grounded while the other gates get to play, and he honors all of that. He honors you when you want stillness, when you want alone time. He honors when you want to move your body and just be like, I have to go ride my bike. I have to go for a walk. Let's do it together. Like, I don't know which direction we should go home. Like, why don't we stop here? Why don't we stop there? The joy of not knowing and just playing. That is what your relationship, it has those moments. And like you just had a retreat in Costa Rica and thinking of the times when you could play, like, is there anything there where you just like allowed that innocence to show up and the joy just to show up?
I mean, every day, kind of over and over. There's a, or I think they're called, it's a reel on Instagram where there's a man and it shows like the guy walking in front and he has the gal's hand. And it's something about like me feeling safe when he has my hand, because if not, and then it's like this kind of sweet picture and you see the back of the guy and they're holding hands. And then it goes to a toddler, like it flips to a toddler, like running into the corner of a wall or something. And she like falls back and she lands. And 100%, 110%, that is how the two of us operate. Like he's the walls of the Grand Canyon and I'm the river that gets to go through it. And so, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And on the flip side, like I got the opportunity to value and honor and be a steady encouragement to him. And it's what's really fun is because we really have been friends for years. And he knows all the icky about me. And at times I've been like, oh my gosh, I wish you didn't know that about me. I wish you hadn't been like my pal that helped me walk through that, and vice versa. Like we both have done that for each other. And, but the beauty also of that is that he can look at me 2 days ago or yesterday. He's like, what's going on? Something's not okay. And he could feel my energy shift. He knew that. And then I got in my head, stayed in my head for about 15 minutes. And he asked again. And so I pulled him in the other room and I told him what was going on. He's like, okay. But that took about 15 minutes versus taking 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, I think you can attest to that, or longer, like can attest to, like it used to take a really long time. And as I've become more safe and as I've become more in tune with listening to who I am and living into my design, I can move through that quicker. And also, you know, like the relationship reading that you did for us has really helped us understand one another. He doesn't make a mistake, which, you know, I mean, I might look at things and think that it was a mistake, but it's not a mistake because he's always learning, always learning. And
he's got a very active, his head and his ajna are defined. Like, You can't break
Yes.
into that sometimes.
No, you can't. And there's like when you're like, when you said, I need to go move my body and I'll ask him if he wants to go. Sometimes he says no because he too needs alone time. And we both need time by ourselves. And we're at a place in our life as being whole as individuals, getting the chance to step into something together that we can feel confident and not have our feelings hurt. Like if I want to go on a walk and he doesn't want to go, I would have in many years of my life had my feelings hurt. Well, why doesn't he want to stay with me? What is he going to go do? Like, get in my head. But now I'm like, well, he just doesn't want to go. It's okay. I probably need to be by myself. So go be by yourself. Let him be by himself. Yeah. Recharge.
Oh, I love that for you. I loved giving you guys your human design or your relationship reading. It was so fun, especially because Andy is also a 3-5. And I'm like, oh yeah. And just because if people are listening here, just because it's so fun. 3-5s are very unique with relationships. I think I've already mentioned this maybe once or twice, but like when they find their person, they find their person. And I can only imagine how happy he is with you because
I hope so.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
He's happy with me. Yeah. No, I know that he is. I know that he is.
But you know what I mean? Like 3-5s, we can easily we can have a relationship. This isn't working. I'm going to cut it out of my life and I'll move on. And I've been here, done that. I don't need this again. But then when it's something new and I'm like, I kind of like it. We'll see how it goes. But when they get to know you, when a 3-5 gets to know you, especially someone with a 4 in their profile, that's a big deal. My husband's a 2-4 and I get to watch certain things play out. And 3-5s do a little dance around relationships, and having someone with a 4 line, it can be very challenging for the 3-5, but you bring such the depth of you guys, the friendship that you guys had over years, I think almost a decade or two long, allowed that to really bring that acorn into that oak tree and give that roots for this relationship to flourish where it is right now. It's amazing. Literally, if you didn't have that before, who knows if you guys would have ever kicked it off. Yeah. Yeah. And I know we went off a tangent on this, but it is so important for 4 lines. Your relationships really do matter. And if you are dating someone that has a 4 line, you need to understand that. That's the little snippet. But looking at who you are and who you are now after going through all this and seeing the joy and innocence that is yours. But do you realize that this is not just for you, that it's for others around you, the joy and innocence?
You saying that, I've had people tell me for years, I walk in the room and the energy shifts and it changes. Whether it's a studio or it's, coming into the space that I call home or going to a party or to a dinner or something, people have said that to me for years. And I just am kind of oh, okay, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. But I've started over the last several months paying attention to that and looking at it is what a gift that I get, that I've been created in this way and designed in this way, that I get to bring that to other places. And I really believe in the power of prayer and meditation and thoughts. And I often will spend some time in meditative prayer before entering into a space or before people coming into my space, and ask that permeate the space and that I can be a conduit for that. Because I really look at it is that what a gift to be called to be a conduit for joy. I mean, how cool is that? That's really fun.
It is.
That's really fun. And if I don't do that, and this is what I get to work with people to help them. If you're not using your gifts, then what a disservice to the universe, because the universe is what it is because we're each here, right?
Right.
And 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 I believe we've all been given a set of gifts that's unique and different, like our design. I mean, you can look at a gift design, we all have this. And I really don't believe that anybody else has that unique design. Like, you could have the same chart, but your experiences are different and your location is different. And so you get the opportunity to do that. And if you don't do it, then you're doing a disservice to the universe. And so I get the opportunity to bring joy to places. And it can piss people off sometimes, of course, because they're they're not in a joyous place.
Right.
And I hope that I'm able to recognize that. But other times, like, it really brings a lot of joy to people and they're just like, okay. And it could be like bringing bubbles someplace, like I did that last week. We were headed to a Rufus Du Sol concert and we went to a little rooftop party beforehand, and I brought bubbles. And afterwards, that Andy and then another friend of ours that were there were like, they don't know what to do with her, because they were all like in their late 20s, early 30s. And here I'm 50 and I'm showing up with bubbles. And they're like, later on, like Andy that night, he's like, Becca, they just didn't know what to do with you. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, they just don't know what to do with you and your joy and your laughter.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
which is okay. I think I take that as a compliment.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, it kind of gives off role model energy.
Mm,
Like, oh, she can be so joyous. Why can't I?
mm,
Like, that's the one thing I love about watching you grow, is because how you do. And I know we've talked about this individual coaching session, that first of all, in order for you to live that out, you have to be in your body. That's 46.
mm,
Walking into the room, being with the right people at the right time, honoring your body above all else, your
mhm,
health, all those things allows for all of that, all of the rest of the incarnation cross to flow. And you
mhm,
do such a great job of that. You're more consistent with the things that bring you joy, that move your body, even. Like, that is how you are able to be the conduit for joy, as well as, like, because of the genius or freak channel that people like to call for you getting downloads. Like, it allows you to be a conduit because you're being present in the moment. Because the only way
mhm,
that you can really be fully on in joy is being present. And you having the gate of the mountain 52, that stillness allows for presence.
mm,
So overall, like, so fun to play in your chart. We do this
mm.
all the time. But, like, looking at even the things that you were just talking about, looking at everything you offer, the one-on-one coaching, the small groups you do, the transformational retreats, like I just brought up Costa Rica. Do you think you could have built these specific businesses or services, excuse me, without walking on and through the waterbed first? Or did this instability become the very thing that shaped to what you help others with?
I thought about this morning, and I don't want it to take away from the value of everything that I've done up to this point. Like I said, like, I've had people come to retreats and leave and commit to sobriety. I've had people write books. I've had people go on like their very first solo international trip all the way to India to spend 8 days with me there, one-on-one coaching, working with people. So I don't want to to have a disservice to anything that I had done through there. But what this has led me to is to realize that I'm being called to shift and transform in a different way, with
Mm.
more depth.
Ooh.
With more depth. And as I sat with this morning, um I it really is. There's been a pause in my coaching. I took a pause from taking one-on-one clients. I actually canceled a retreat earlier this year that I was supposed to have. I shifted and changed the Costa Rica retreat to something that was a little bit different than what I had intended. And I I now am looking at the work that I get to do moving forward. I don't even really like to call it work. I look at the opportunities and the people that I'll get to be with one-on-one in small groups and coaching session, or in retreat work, with a depth and an understanding of things that I didn't understand beforehand.
Mhm.
And like looking at my cross, like thinking about, I have the ability to help people connect with their body and in a joyful way, like peel the layers back from an onion and figure out, why is it that this is going on, and how can I move into that place, in how can I feel it in my body? And it's not for everyone, it's not for everyone. If somebody comes to me and is like, hey, I want to shed 50 pounds, I'm like, I'm not your girl. But I do have a gal that wants to do that. And they're like, hey, I want to do human design with you. I'm like, it's an overarching umbrella that I filter things through in my coaching. I got a gal for you. Her name's Molly. Like, if you want to go deep, like, this is where you need to go. If you want to go, this is the gal that you would go here, this guy where you would go here, and be able to support and give people exactly what they need in their work, or in their path, I guess, to their own wholeness.
Yeah. Well, and that's lovely. I can't wait because, as you said, you sat with it this morning and wanting to go
Mm-hmm.
deep. So I can't wait to hear more about what that means. If you want to share, feel free. If you'd rather save it for a session or voxering of like how you want to go deeper, I will totally honor that.
I think for me, it's really, I need to sit with it a little bit longer. I need to sit with it and see where we're going, and what it looks like. I was given a vision in 2019, and not ironically, serendipitously, I brought that vision to Andy, and the vision of an adult gap year program. And so we worked with, he and I met and with his mentor, and we talked through what it would look like, and the timing wasn't right. And so it's beginning to surface again. And Costa Rica was a little bit, that retreat was a little bit along those lines. And what does it look like to have the body and the joyful piece matched with the foundation of like eight guiding principles of your life, and how you have your core values, and how you live out your finances through core values, and how you live out your hobbies through your core values, and how you live out your vocation through your core values. And say, well, he's an expert and beautiful in that. I would say, I don't know, expert, but expert and beautiful in the joyful, the body piece, and taking those and coming together. So that's one of the things that is continues to surface, that we're going to press into, like, what does it look like to have a curriculum for that? But then also being able to work, I really like to work one-on-one with people, and being able to bring that back, and what does that look like in my new city, in my new space. And a lot of it is online. It doesn't have to be like right here, but yeah, what does that look like to bring it back?
As you were describing it, my sacral just was going nuts. So that's wonderful to hear. It's just like, it's like spewing up into my heart center, and it's like, party. It's like, I do tell you when that happens for us.
I do. I love it.
So the fourth line is all about either the right people opening the right doors for you, or you being with the right people for you at the right time. As well as, like, that's part of gate 46. So looking back, can you point to a person or a relationship that became a doorway during this time for you?
Well, of course, I mean, Andy has been that, but I have a friend of mine, and again, I didn't ask their permission to use their name, so I'm not going to use their name, but it's a friend of mine that I met. And during this time of really, like, the waterbed being full some days and empty some days, and like really not being able to stand on it, they provided a foundation for me. And what's coming to me interesting is, like, I've said several times, people fed me. Like people fed me and like literally fixed me food and brought it to me. And because my body was not getting the nutrition that it needed because I just couldn't eat. And this friend of mine, I remember he texts me and he's like, "Hey, let's go on a French fry date," because he knows they're my favorite. And just like completely platonic, like just friends, not like a date, but like, "Hey, let's go on a French fry date." And so we went and we had French fries and they're like, "Hey, my girlfriend taught me how to make these really great, like these, I've got some Wagyu beef and let me make these, like, she taught me how to make these really great sausages. So let's go back to my place and let me make you these sausages," and put like 5 of them on my plate. They were delicious. They're married now, which is so fun. Put 5 of them on my plate and like 5 on his plate. And I ate like 3. And I'm like, "I'm finished. You can have them." And they're like, "No, I'm full." And so I'm sitting there and we're just talking and kind of processing through what I was going through and listening and sharing and holding space for me to be what I needed to be, just to be held and nourished. And so I ate the other 2. And then he got up and like got 5 more for himself. And I'm like, "Why didn't you eat mine? Like I told you." He's like, "Because you needed to eat those. And I knew if I ate them, then you wouldn't. But I also knew if I sat here and I waited, then you would eat them." And so he was a person that not only fed me nutritionally, but held space for me to just sit and be. And often when you are in the kind of work and have the opportunities like that coaching does in yoga and retreat work, like you are the creator and the holder of space. People don't hold space for you.
Yeah.
And then another time was when I chose to go on a retreat. So I went on a retreat in the spring of 2005. And it was on that retreat that I was saying that I had this really deep meditation. And I came out of the meditation. Ironically, it was on my wedding anniversary date that I did this meditation. When I came out of it, came back to reality, I had no more anger, no more resentment, no more hard feelings. I had deep gratitude for Jonathan. And that, at that point in time, was when everything really shifted. I was whole, but I was really whole. Our relationship was completely complete. And it hasn't gone back since. And that was, over a year ago, year and a half ago, I guess, or over a year ago. And in that space again, it was really the retreat. So it wasn't really a person. It was the retreat space that held me and gave me that opportunity. That shift, I guess.
Yeah.
Did I tangent,
Yeah.
or did I answer it?
No, that looks, you did answer it. It's like pointing to a time where the retreat, that friendship, that you're talking about something that's holding space for you.
Mm-hmm.
And in relationships, we need people like that. We need moments like that. We need containers that hold space for us to just be.
Mm-hmm.
And when people like you and I that were in the space, we're facilitating those, we can see it happen. But when we were a part of it as being there just for ourselves, that can be very transformational, because most of the time we don't make that time for ourselves. And so you being able to do that literally has helped you, and having those people in your life has really helped you get to where you are now. And that's wonderful. And when we think about this, like, this has created a whole new foundation for you. That everything where you're at right now. How does knowing that it gets to be rooted in joy and innocence feel?
Right. It feels
It
right.
feels right.
Okay. Like it feels right. It feels sacred. It feels holy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then as you move through this with grace and compassion and the real desire for the foundation, what do you what do you think your foundation looks like right now?
Like fresh sod that's taken
Ooh,
root, sod that's taken root. Because,
ready to
sod
plant
is,
seeds.
yeah, like sod is something that was grown someplace else. So I feel like I've had this foundation for, probably 48 years. Then my foundation, like that whole, what was there was like ripped up or scraped up and taken away. And then what has been laid in the last 2 years, 2.5 years is fresh. And it's almost, Molly, like it was growing someplace else.
Mm.
And, the grass for the World Cup is grown in Colorado. And I watched this video about how they like scrape it up and then they put it down. And so I feel like I've had this, like my design and the divine have been growing, cultivating this grass and just waiting for this to be cleared so that it could be laid. And the sod has been laid. And for the last couple of years, it's taking root.
That is a beautiful way of explaining it. It's almost as if all these things, the friend that held space for you, the retreat, are all different pieces of sod, and they've
Mm-hmm.
come together to lay this whole foundation for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm, lovely. I almost want to just like sit in silence with that. That's what we can do right
Mm.
now. Oh my gosh. Oh, and that brings into that foundation. The foundation almost feels like a sense of embodiment. And I know that's what I'm going to get into next, but it really does feel like the sod, those moments that have transformed you, held space for you, that have allowed you to be you, um, really allows you to embody who you are right now, where you're at,
Mm.
and living it in your body. So for someone who's a 4-1 who
Mhm.
craves solid ground, what has it meant to start building this foundation in a new place, but also from the inside out?
Um, in a new place. I mean, I went from like opening my back door and like being in the nature to opening the door and having to get on an elevator and go down to try to be in some nature, or opening the door and there being neighbors, like really close by. Um, that it's been real different, but for me, it's not so much the location as it is my nest.
Ooh.
So like I said earlier how I get into a hotel room and like I unpack my bags. Like I might be there for like one night. I mean, who unpacks their bags? Every 4-1 you can raise your hand, it's okay. Um, where like we were in Costa Rica for a week, like Andy's like living out of his suitcase for the whole week. And I'm like hanging up everything. We've been in there for 10 minutes and I'm like taking everything out and hanging it up. Um, so for me, it's really building a nest. So the location doesn't necessarily mean, but being able to have some place that feels like home. And home has really become a person for me, more a
Mm.
person and a feeling more than a location. Um, so that's one thing.
You came to me as a coaching client and grew into the mentorship with a
Uh-huh.
relationship, as we've discussed, woven along the
Uh-huh.
way. That's,
Uh-huh.
that's not a straight line. That's a woman who kept
Uh-uh.
saying yes to herself.
Uh-huh.
What has each experience revealed about who you were becoming?
More and more confident, more aware. The safety that I have alluded to so much in a relationship, I feel safe within myself.
Wow.
And I mean, like, we still, there's still lots of work to do. And big thing that we're working through, working with right now, um, that I believe I had to come to the place where I felt safe and confident in who I am, safe to be able to stand in a room of like all these political people, probably with all these super fancy degrees, and say, you know, like, no, I'm not in foreign policy. I'm actually in the wellness coaching space. And they're like, okay. But to be confident in that and not be embarrassed.
Right.
8, well, maybe not 6, probably 10 months ago, I would have been embarrassed.
Mm.
I would have been embarrassed. I wouldn't have felt safe and secure to say what I can say now. And that safety doesn't come from being in a relationship that's safe with Andy. That comes within being relationship and safety with Becca.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
that path has led me, this path from coaching to the relationship reading to mentorship has led me down that path with deep gratitude for the gifts that you press into and the space that you hold and the way that you share. Deep gratitude.
I appreciate you so much as well as a client, as a person, because you really embody the work that needs to be done. And you don't run at it and have to do it this way, or you don't have to hurry up and get it done. You know that this takes time. And when you sit with yourself, you're just growing so quick. I mean, really, that's my favorite thing. I was telling my husband, Brad, my favorite thing about doing what I do is watching my clients grow. And he's like, is Becca your favorite client? I'm like, all my clients are my favorite because they each grow so different and they're so unique. And it is so lovely to like look at their chart and be like, oh, I know where that's coming from, sadly. Or, oh my gosh, look what they're going to do. Look what they get to feel. Look what they get to express. And just like once again, that's part of the reason why I want to touch on the joy and the innocence, because it's such a joy to watch you grow. I cannot wait to see what continues, because it is like, I will continue to watch even as we.
Me too.
Well, you have to watch yourself grow because that's great.
I have to watch.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So if another 4-1 is listening right now, which would be crazy and extremely rare, and they are standing on a waterbed with everything fluid, nothing solid beneath their feet, what would you want them to know?
Be patient. Be patient. You're good. You're created with goodness. And it's not easy. And see if you can find your way back to your heart. Find your way back to your heart. Find your way back to your body. Maybe that's just me, though. That could just be my chart. But there's a patience, and it's okay that people don't understand you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not sure we're meant to be understood, and that can be lonely.
Yeah, it can be. You guys, like I said, are very rare. But at the same time, I love that you said get back in your body, because honestly, a lot of us do live in the head and the ajna space too much that we aren't in our body. So almost everyone can live into their body, lean into their body, excuse me, more. Becca, this has been, like always, our conversations. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. And I love the stories that you've shared. I know that they're going to resonate with people. The visuals that you gave, how much joy you bring to this episode through speaking of difficulties and moving through change and your own experience. Like, I greatly appreciate you coming onto the podcast and sharing that.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege, and wow. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So please tell everyone where they can find you, because I am going to include all your links that you've given me in the show notes. But yeah, please do. They need to find you.
Me? Well, Bex, Bex Nimrod. Yes, that is my last name, Nimrod. Bex Nimrod. So awaq.me, awake.me. And I'm on Instagram, and that's Bex Nimrod. So Bex Nimrod, Bex Nimrod. on Instagram. My profile's private, but send me a note and I'll let you through. And on Twitter, I'm also Bex Nimrod, or what is it? It's X now. A lot of that's football stuff. So if you like college football, then follow me there. It's a lot of Auburn. We've gone from Tennessee and Utah State to South Florida, but now we're Auburn. So we've got a whole season of Auburn football coming up on there. And Facebook, I don't really use Facebook, but yeah, those are the things. So really Instagram and my website.
I can't wait. This is one of the things I love to say is that you and I got to talk college football sometimes during our sessions.
So fun.
Since Brad and I are moving to Portland, he was like, oh my God, college game day is going to be so early. And I was like, I don't care. We're going to wake up and watch it. Oh my gosh. I love football as well.
It's I think only 74 more days. I think it's 74. It's either 74 or 75 days till Auburn kickoff.
Oh my gosh.
In
Brad
Atlanta.
And I just looked.
Yeah.
And at the time of this recording, like it's 58 days until we move. And so like when we're in the move, like week 0 is happening. And I was like, but we're going to miss college game day. And he's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. He's like, we'll be in Yellowstone. And I'm like, okay. Baby bison. Oh no, I want to watch the little dog Peter, or who is it?
Yeah. The dog,
you know what I mean?
The golden retriever.
Yes. Yes. Instagram. Sorry, This is what happens when someone with an undefined head like me and an open head start talking. We can go on other tangents, so we're going to end the podcast.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, hilarious. Okay. So before we go, like I said, Becca has all of her information in the show notes. But if you are listening and you're thinking you need support with change, or you know an area of your life that needs some attention, coaching may be a good fit for you. But like at the time of this episode, when it drops, I'm going to be just closing up my services. In fact, I'll be flying out to Portland on Wednesday to try to secure housing before we move, which might be fun. Oh gosh, so tough. Especially doing it 2 time zones away. So if you want to schedule a connection call, today is the day. I might even take a few connection calls in early August with the understanding that there will be a pause in your coaching at the end of August through the beginning of September, as I'll be getting, moving and getting settled in. Otherwise, as of tomorrow, July 29th, all of my services will be paused until mid-September or the beginning of October, unless you are a current client, because you guys are getting all the attention that you need. So between now and then, you can always run your chart on my website and receive your 11-page energy report, where you'll also be on my email list to get updates, have reflection questions sent to you, and also get to hear about my real-life examples of living your design. You can also, this is coming soon at the time of this podcast, that you can also pay for a more detailed report for your design and even relationship report while I'm unavailable for those services. Check the link in the show notes to learn more, and purchase those if you are interested. So thanks again, lady, for joining me on this podcast. Thank you once again for all the listeners, and I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, connect with Becca. I wish I would have been able to go on the Costa Rica retreat. I can only imagine how transformative that would have been. But I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what you and Andy also cook up over the next several months.
Me too.
So. All right. Thanks again, Becca.
Thank you.